My computer just freaked out. Anyways, this is the start of the show, apparently. The three faces on the side? Who said you may begin now? Was it Jason? Jason has arrived. Catch up, we're going by, can't hear anybody but Jeremy. That's the way we like it on this show.
Can't
This
hear.
is the
Did
molasses
you fucking mute us?
show.
Do you have Discord muted?
No, it's fixed.
I won't know that until the chat says something.
Mic check, mic check. Hell yeah.
Of the sort of
1
weird
2 1 2.
meta, like hellscape that it is to be online. It's
Man, I love this so much. I
Man, it
love
sucks.
internet.
We can't hear Wasabi.
I think he's messing with me. I mean, I hope so. That's what I'm gonna assume.
God.
Yeah, hopefully.
Apparently, I can't watch TikToks.
Why?
Oh.
I don't know.
Can you put it and watch together?
Nope.
Oh.
Maybe.
And Wasabi now. So, all right. All three of us are heard.
All right.
So
That's
we're
what
gonna
I-
play a video to kind of open the show, but that apparently fell through.
Well, we're talking about social media. Last week we talked about the DHS leaks, and it was kind of in passing. I think the topic was ancient civilization, so we were talking about how the population can be controlled, and one of them being social media. But I guess we felt it necessary to kind of dive a little deeper.
What the DHS are? Yeah, we didn't get
in social media in general.
social media in general. So I think we need to cover what the DHS leaks were, what they imply, what was actually tangible, the physical stuff that got released, right?
Mhm.
Facts, not just speculations, but stuff that actually happened. This was recent news. Is maybe 3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago.
No, I think it was
Yeah,
last
it's
week.
like last week.
When did Elon buy Twitter? Because it kind of
It kind of correlated
coincides.
with that. Yeah.
I think they put that out because Elon bought Twitter, and they knew that he was going to know that, and they did not trust him to not talk about it. That's speculation, but it's kind of weird that they happen somewhat in tandem.
Yeah.
Um,
DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is quietly bordering its efforts to curb speech, and it considers dangerous. An investigation by The Intercept has found years of internal DHS memos, emails, documents obtained via leaks, ongoing lawsuits, as well as public documents illustrate an expansive effort by the agency to influence tech platform.
yeah, I think Idaho governor, Senate member, sued for this information, and I would encourage people to watch someone totally read through it and tell you the points. I mean, we're kind of going to do that. I'm going to let you know what's in it, but there's very in-depth and analysis of this on like YouTube and stuff. And I've listened to one probably like 3 times, and I'm still wrapping my head around like I'm pulling details. So like Facebook has a portal that if you have a government email, you can log into that portal to take. You can
It's like a direct line of communication to the leaders of Facebook or whoever it is. It's like a direct line to them, say, "Hey, take this down immediately," or "Hey, this is on its way. We need to control how this kind of comes out to the public."
Yeah,
and stuff of that nature.
And so one of those documents says that Facebook has one. I saw something that said Twitter had one too. But on top of these portals, which are technically illegal, I think, the law part gets kind of weird. Because on one end, it is a private company taking advice from the federal government. But on the opposite end, it's the federal government telling tech corporations what they're allowed or what they should take down, which is the concerning side of it.
I don't think it's illegal or anything for private to kind of intertwine with public. I don't think that's the issue, right? I think the issue is that they are influencing the private part, right? The idea that it's private is that it is private, that the government has no influence over it, and it's a private company that could be operated however it chooses to do it. Now, if they say, hey, we want to be like favor the government, we want to be cooperative with the government, we could get into that, what their motivations is.
Yeah, I'm saying like the loophole out of any legal activity or illegal activity is every one of those social media companies going, no, we wanted to work with the government.
Yeah. I mean,
They didn't
I don't
tell us
necessarily see
anything.
it as a loophole, is all I'm saying.
But I also think that all these social media companies operate off what's called Section 230, which removes them from any liability of anything posted on their site because they're not editors or they're not publishers. They just host mass information. And so a lot of people are pissed off because they're like, no, you're publishers because you're choosing what is allowed to be on and what is not. You don't have like if they followed the First Amendment, it would make sense because it's like you're following the law of the land. But since they're saying they're not publishers and removing things, that's the only reason I think through like lawful means that they are not being reined in or kind of controlled in what they can do, like calling them what is it where you basically become a government entity or you have government restrictions placed upon you because you service so many people.
Like AT&T
Like-
or something like that?
Yeah, like a public utility or something. Because like cabs can't, like taxi cabs cannot not pick someone up for any reason because they're considered a public utility. Does that make sense? But like a cake owner can say, no, I won't sell you a cake for whatever I decide. That's the bridge between those two ideas.
Yeah.
Which philosophically we can argue till the cows come home, but I'm speaking within like U.S. law. I think this is how this is all laid out and working. But since the government is working through these social media companies, we've bridged another gap that is kind of crazier than the others, in my perspective. That the government can tell these people what they can, or what they need to remove.
I mean, that's the idea behind being private, right?
Yeah.
You get
But also-
Operation Mockingbird?
Yeah, I was going to bring it back to that. What were you going to say, Drake? Shit, I didn't get more drinks.
Oh, nothing. Just, I think I said it on one of the previous episodes. Excuse me. Just how. Never mind. I said it in a previous episode. I don't want to repeat myself. I don't feel like repeating myself.
All right, well, let's bridge the gap back to the parallel of Operation Mockingbird, which came out in the Church Committee, and it was essentially this. Oh, hey, you got it pulled up. The CIA was embedding agents. It started out when it started coming out that they were doing this, that they were doing it in foreign nations to affect the journalism of those countries and embed CIA agents or feed journalists CIA-made information and to influence what's going on in those countries. It came out that they were doing that domestically within like the news agencies of the time, in print and in television. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Read through that Wikipedia, make sure I'm right.
I was going to ask, why are they known as the
So
Church Committee?
it's
But-
small on my screen. I can't read it.
What were you gonna ask, Jeremy?
Why Church Committee? Church Committee was the U.S. Senate's committee that investigated abuses essential. Okay, they were the ones investigating the CIA? This is the Church Committee?
The Church Committee,
CIA.
yes. Yeah, it was basically a government committee looking into what the CIA was doing. It came up with a bunch of shit.
Which
But
is
one of them-
stupid.
Yeah, the government.
It
Influence?
literally, it's like another thing we talked about recently was the CIA looking into themselves.
Right. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
on the
you
War on
can't-
Drugs episode.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
but then you have Congress doing it, and it's like, is that really oversight, or is that like, who are you friends with, though? I don't know who your friends are. You might know people over there. But yeah, so there's parallels with the Operation Mockingbird because they were influencing the media of the time. And now we have these DHS leaks. Actually, there's a video on that Google Doc. It's the former CIA talks about influencing media in 1983.
The next one. Look it up.
Yep. That video is insane. This video was posted in 83 or, published, whatever. However they did it in 83. Sent to like 2 people on a boob tube. Who gives a shit?
My
Newspaper.
computer is
But he's
freaking
talking
out.
about like all the way back to the 50s and 60s, I think.
Take a little bit.
Are you having problems?
I was trying to
Is
zoom
that
in.
as big?
Okay, that goes that
Okay.
way, and this goes this way. Okay, here we go. Okay.
They wanted
Oh,
to,
we can't hear it. I should have made
circulate
that a watch ticket
disinformation
link.
on a
That's my bad.
particular issue. Disinformation is not
There's captions.
not necessarily a lie. It may be a half-truth. And we would pick out a journalist. I would go do the briefing and hope that he would put the information in print. For instance, if we wanted to get across to the American public that the North Vietnamese were building up their force structure in South Vietnam, I would go.
So he's
to
basically going over
journalists
like how
and
the
advise
CIA
them
is
that in the past
controlling the
6
information
months,
of warfare,
X number of North Vietnamese forces.
Yeah.
both domestically and to the government of and the people of Vietnam. And like he goes on later to say he would influence a journalist, but he would already know who that journalist is going to cross-reference that information with. So he would leak that information to the journalist and to who he knew they were going to cross-reference the information with. So they both get that information and it's wrong both times and it's from the same guy.
Pretty strategic.
Yeah. And on top of that, they're embedding people in like the New York Times. That there was I think that video at the end, he goes through all the publications that he either knew that he could trick a certain journalist every time or that they had agents in that publication, which is insane. They're just controlling what everyone thinks. That's kind of what we're getting to with the social media thing. Like, if he can control, if the CIA can control the small day-to-day aspects of the Vietnam War, like, it's kind of hard to imagine where that ends.
Where the influence is, right? What
Yeah.
they're doing. I mean, I think that's just evidence of how practiced they are at this stuff, right?
Yeah. No,
Rehearsed.
definitely.
They have it down. They have it locked in, how to do it. And what year was this? I mean, this is the Vietnam War. This is 68, 69, 70s.
Yeah, that's the years he's talking about doing it. That
83.
video didn't
Whoops.
come out till 83.
Yeah. So that's 50 years ago right there. That's easy.
Yeah, and that's where I got the information on the church committee about Operation Mockingbird, is that the CIA, that was like their biggest project. That was like their bread and butter of what they were doing, was like psychological control in a way. Yeah.
That'll get
Yeah,
you.
because
paying
control
off all the local media.
And
national
the second
media.
you control the media, you control the zeitgeist of the culture, the thoughts and ideas about what is going on. If you can influence how people perceive what is going on, then you influence what they think about it, which is what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And so the DHS leaks come out,
A couple weeks ago. This is super recent.
and it's a perfect parallel to Operation Mockingbird.
Right. So the Operation Mockingbird is kind of just how well versed they are at this stuff. And then we get evidence that they were doing it here with our social media platforms a couple weeks ago. So that's kind of why we're tying the two together, right?
Yeah, and I there's even some there's some evidence that this has not stopped. Or
Right.
there's like points in a timeline where you're like, okay, you did this in the 80s. There's no telling if that ever stopped. I read something that said Bush in 2003 passed a law that the CIA was not allowed to be in contact with journalists. But that
Doesn't mean they
law,
abide by it.
and I don't think it's necessarily policeable, because if these CIA agents are undercover, then that is literally blowing their cover, and I don't think the president even gets to override that kind of intelligence within the CIA. Does that make sense? Like,
Are you saying that
they could
can't-
keep that from him? That's a ghost person that the
The
CIA,
CIA, they
found in
answer to the
college.
president.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to.
you're saying they can't talk
They're
to
not supposed
private
to shoot him in the
citizens?
head either. Do what?
They can't talk to private citizens? That seems...
Lace people with LSD.
What are you talking about? Oh no, they can't be in communication and share information with journalists specifically.
Well, yeah.
In like 2003.
That
I
makes
didn't write that down. I have no link for that. I don't know about that at all. But I do know. This is what I was trying to get to. The day before Facebook went from only college kids to anybody in 2006, DARPA, which I should know what that stands for, but I don't right now. Let me zoom in. It stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. They announced that they canceled a program called LifeLog. And I'm just going to read this short paragraph from Wikipedia because it's pretty succinct. It aimed to compile a massive electronic database of every activity and relationship a person engages in. This was to include credit card purchases, websites visited, the content of telephone calls and emails sent and received, scans of faxes and postal mail sent and received, instant messages sent and received, books and magazines read, television and radio selections, physical locations recorded via wearable GPS sensors, biomedical data captured through wearable sensors. The high-level goal of this data logging was to identify preferences, plans, goals, and other markers of intentionality. And so it begs the question, and I'll provide some further evidence to this question. Did the government stop that and invest in Facebook because Facebook had figured out how to make people do that for them? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think I was going to touch base on that when we got into Twitter. Kind of the rise of hashtags and trending and all that.
Yeah.
that
But
make
so the
sense?
government had an agency dedicated to collecting and storing data of American citizens.
Right.
And then Facebook comes along.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's some crazy information that's public knowledge that I had no idea. The CIA has a investing group. What are those called?
Venture capitalists?
Venture capital firm called InQtel.
Okay, I was wondering what that was. I saw that on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the
What is
Wikipedia.
InQtel?
The Wikipedia says it's a non-for-profit venture capital firm based in Arlington, Virginia. It invests in high-tech companies to keep the CIA and other intelligence agencies equipped with the latest information technology in support of U.S. intelligence capability. It is the CIA's known investment firm.
Well, how do you know it's the...
InQtel in 2006.
It says and other intelligence agencies, but it doesn't say where they get their funding.
From the American people.
So it's just tax revenue that's... I mean, government...
They're probably solvent in some manner. They probably pay themselves back, and it's a non-for-profit.
He was founded by the former CEO of Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, right?
Oh my
They
God.
invest. They're part of the reason Facebook expanded past just colleges, because in 2005 or in 2006, before they did that, they got huge investments, and some of it was from InQtel. Isn't that crazy? Is that not nutty? Does that not make it seem like that Facebook is literally just the CIA or whatever intelligence agency's little data mine?
It is the CIA to me. I mean, that's what I was trying to distinguish. I was like, maybe it was just some kind of other government entity or public entity, but no, I mean, it's just explicitly the CIA.
Yeah, like
Yeah, like
Let's set up
if-
an
if-
umbrella to funnel money into these corporations that are coming. Oh my god! I didn't. This is news to me. This is genuine reaction right here. This is crazy.
okay, now probably 3 links down, I have an article that says Facebook hires former CIA agents. It's a YouTube video.
So what
It's
if
like a
Zuck
CNN
is
clip.
a CIA asset from way back when, and they
I
pick him
think-
up and they say like, "Oh, he has Facebook. We can use him and let him be rich." And what if he is some type of alien? Because everybody, that's a little joke conspiracy thing going on. So like, what if
Yeah.
he's an alien and he's like, "Hey, I will." He comes to the CIA and he's an alien. And he's like, "I will give y'all this platform and show y'all how to do this and that, expand Facebook, have billions of people all over the world on it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You control them through media. And in the meantime, I live as a human as one of the richest on earth." And just
I mean,
live-
you don't even have to
live the
go to
best life.
Alien. You don't even
Yeah.
have to go as far as Alien because we already know that the operation we just talked about, my short-term memory is like gone right now. Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird, they were picking out college kids, college journalist students before they got a job and going, "Hey, you're going to disseminate CIA information at the New York Times," you know? So he's in Harvard when he makes his website. I mean, it's all speculation, but why wouldn't a government agency that already does that go to him and go, "Hey, so we're working on data mining people, and you have figured out how to make people want a profile where they upload the data to already. Like they're cool with putting their phone number and their address, and all day long they're just telling other people what they're doing. That's what we were trying to do. You got them to do it for free or without us having to break any laws."
Voluntarily.
Yeah. We don't have to play that video where Facebook is hiring CIA agents, but that's what they say in that video.
Oh no, but the guy with the blonde hair, it's kind of like spiky a little bit. What he says is really good information.
In this video?
In this video?
Yes. You kind of got to skip a little bit though.
CIA and other government
But, yeah,
agents
let
to
it play,
run
let it
its
play.
content moderation, security, and trust and safety operations, meaning that they affect what the world sees in their Facebook feeds. Senior staff writer at Mint Press News, Alan McLeod, did an investigation
Someone's
into what
echoing.
this could all mean, and he's here
Not
to
me.
tell us more about it.
Mine's
Might be
muted.
me, but
Welcome, Alan. Thanks for
shouldn't hear it.
joining us.
Okay. I can live with it if that's happening. Who paused it?
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to pause it.
So do me
Oh.
a favor and walk me through the kind of so what about this. Why is this a big deal?
I'll watch this one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, some people say, well, it's not really a big deal. Casinos hire ex-card sharks all the time to protect them from scams and whatnot.
It was the
But you know,
wine.
the people that Facebook are hiring are not, they're not whistleblowers. They're not people who have like turned the other cheek.
Yeah, it's not the people that are like speaking up to wrongdoings. It's the people that were doing the wrongdoings.
Yeah.
Want to keep going? My bad.
A lot of the time, they are actually being taken straight from the CIA and put into important positions in Facebook with regards to content moderation and security and trust and safety. It's not like they're going into sales or customer service or anything. It's very politically sensitive fields. Why
So-
this is a problem?
So like they're not they're leaving their exit interview from the CIA and going directly to the Facebook office?
Yep.
Or did they have an exit interview? Like did the CIA just go, "Hey, we got you a job at Facebook, wink wink, we'll still pay
that's
you."
the speculation part, right? But I mean, they for sure are hiring these people that
Yeah.
have a
and
track record of this stuff down to a science.
I think last week I said I don't like speculating.
Right.
But there is
That's the best.
It's
there's
hard not to.
proof.
Yeah.
There's proof they did this with the last technological advancement
There's
like,
the DHS. It's the
to
DHS
its absolute
leaks.
end.
Even more so, the DHS leaks, right?
Well, yeah, the DHS didn't exist at the time. DHS didn't exist till the War on Terror.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that's not speculation. Like, it did come out that they are interfering
Yeah.
with it, with these entities through these
Right.
means. Right.
And so it leaked. I think what leaked is not what's going on. Does that make sense? I think what leaked is what we know right now.
You saying what was leaked is not actually what was going on. I agree with. I think what was leaked was intentional to drive a certain narrative, right?
And I think they were like, if this comes out, it can't all come out at once.
They definitely wanted to control the way it came out, how much came out, when it came out. I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
With you, yes.
So let's tell them there's a portal, but let's not tell them that we made Facebook. Or something like that.
That's the speculation part that we are.
You can just speculate on what they're not telling us because they just told us they've been lying for 2 years, and we already know what they did in the past. And by they, I mean the government in general, the intelligence community within the government, not necessarily the DHS specifically.
Right.
But there's a lot of theirs there. There's a lot of I'm connecting dots like a crazy Charlie on It's Always Sunny.
Yep.
But also my dots are real.
No, I got you. I wanted to kind of summarize where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic was social media. We did want to touch base on the DHS leaks because that was super relevant, super recent. But the overarching ideas we want to get into are the psychological impacts of social media. The DHS leaks kind of touch on the bigger, broader stroke of that. We think that it's a tool being used to manipulate us, right, to drive certain narratives and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like the functions of the data mining and the algorithms and
exactly. And I know we were talking about it last week. I know Ketchup was talking about some stuff with the algorithms and stuff. We were going to get into what the algorithm's actually designed to do, and it's that. But there's influence, and I think the DHS leaks were part of the evidence that those algorithms are being altered.
Yeah.
Based on political influence, right? So that's part of the issue we're highlighting. So, I did want to kind of I guess. We're 30 minutes into it, but set the stage, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like we're kind
of. In what way?
Well, just kind of like the trail of thought of what's been going on, right? I like bullet points. I like timelines. I don't know why.
Okay, how about
it? Did it get included? It did not get included. It got cut off, didn't it? So I got to pull it up on another computer. So there's a timeline that I kind of drew up. I started back in 97 trying to think of what was the earliest forms of social media, right?
Like message boards?
Yeah, I was thinking, online chat rooms maybe, like AOL for sure. You kind of log into the server, there's chat rooms, you could go into forums and stuff like that. To me, those were like the first introductions into the internet, into social media. You're kind of getting introduced into this environment, okay?
Yeah, I'd have to assume I used AIM till like 2007 or something.
Yeah, no, I think it was much earlier than that. Not much earlier, but I think by 05.
2005?
Yeah, 05, everybody probably ended up with cell phones. And I was going to mark that too. So, like, the transition.
Yeah, but I had a cell phone and used AIM for like a year, probably.
Dude, I feel like as soon as we all got cell phones, AIM died. And I was going to kind of touch on that too.
Interesting. Okay.
I never used it.
You never used AIM? Well, we've got kind of
I was Clayto the Clown, and every time I sent a message, it would go like a clown nose.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that.
You remember setting your away message?
Yeah.
And then, like, it'd be an auto response. So when somebody responded, you would, like, have this, like, full lyrics of some super emo song.
Yeah.
I wonder what the last conversation we had on AIM was.
I don't know. I was probably flirting with...
Dude, I like
anyone that would talk to me.
We were in such a small town. Like, to me, like, conceptually, nobody really had the internet. If they did, it wasn't like my friends for some reason or something. It was like this, like, other realm that you kind of logged into. And then finding out other people were on it, you're like, oh shit,
yeah,
I'm on the internet.
On AIM, I talked to people that I didn't really talk to in real life every day.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well,
yeah.
I mean, we can get into that kind of stuff.
But I'd see them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same conversation as it might be on AIM.
I mean, that kind of segues into social media, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was the earliest forms of social media to me, and I was gonna say, so like we're all in chat rooms and stuff like that. I feel like there was a brief moment where everybody ended up with cell phones, right? Everybody was texting each other, and they kind of moved away from the internet. I don't think they moved away from the internet. I'm just saying, like, the social aspect moved to like an internal kind of dialogue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the culture moved to cell phones, and then back when cell phones got the internet, it moved back to the internet.
So exactly. So it circles back. So whenever this cell phone was introduced, everybody kind of migrated there. There was texting chats, and I remember being like hurt, like, oh man, like I'm not popular enough to get like an individual phone number and like interact on that level. Like, but that's where those conversations are being held. I don't.
That's when like sidekicks were real popular and shit like that, and all the phones were sideways, and you could open it, and there's a keyboard.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yep.
The NV2, I had one of those.
And the Razor. Remember the Razors?
Yeah.
So
I used to be able to T9 in your hoodie pocket. No one know you're texting.
dude, that was early shit, man.
And now I think you're just allowed to text in class.
Ketchup has a funny story about cell phones. Anyway, so I had a timeline when one of the big names popped up, and I didn't know what 6 degrees was, but apparently that was the first like markings of you could have a profile apparently, and individual stuff like that. That was 6 degrees. That was in 1997. So 97.
Oh wow.
2002, Friendster pops up. I vaguely remember Friendster.
I know the name. I never used it.
I knew the name, but I never used it. So 2002, and then MySpace comes out at 2003. And everybody knows.
Did
MySpace.
Friendster turn into Zynga? XYNGA? Here,
Zynga?
I'll Wikipedia. Keep going.
I know what you're talking about, Zynga.
Zynga was my first experience with a social media platform.
I remember that point. You guys are a couple years younger than I was. At that point, MySpace was getting old, right? Like it was like lame almost.
I don't know why though, man. It was so great. You could have
your own comparison,
and all that.
In comparison,
I get it.
Yeah. So in 2004, you get Facebook, right?
When did we get Pornhub? Because
No, 2004 is when Facebook goes to colleges.
Just kidding.
Well, I'm saying it's founded 2004.
Yes.
Yeah. So then 2005, 2006, all the way, I would say Facebook heyday was that 2004 to 2006 period. And then in 2006, you get Twitter introduced. To me, that's kind of marking the change of what I'm getting at. So 2006, Twitter gets introduced. And then in 2010, this is the point, hashtags.
That's when the iPhone came out.
2010? I thought it was 2008.
No, you're right. It was 2008.
I meant to tie that into, because so simultaneously while these social media platforms are growing up, cell phones are growing up simultaneously, right? So by the time
became public in 2000.
There you go. Damn, that's right before my train was. I don't know.
It wasn't used. It was a site for sharing book and music reviews until like 2002, I think.
Okay.
Pretty neat.
Doesn't matter.
So anyways, 2010, the term hashtag kind of like formally solidifies into what it is now known as. And what I was kind of trying to focus on is that the hashtag gets turned into what is trending, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the key point to me that I think ties us back into Operation Mockingbird and all that stuff. The idea of trends, like to see what's trending out there, like amongst the populace, amongst the the Commonwealth, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, for them to be the ones like electing, like they're the ones curating it, like they're the ones plugging in the hashtag and then like putting it in, right? And then other people catch on and create it, and it created this idea of a trending news cycle.
And the assumption is you're just counting how many people have used that hashtag.
But the idea, getting back to you thinking that the CIA funded Facebook,
to
me that was the ultimate tool that was like perfectly created by this. I want to say it was neutral in the beginning, maybe, but you had this thing that was curating what was trending pop up, and then to hand that over to the government and be able to say, hey, we could use this. That to me, that's an obvious move. That's what I'm getting at.
That you can control. I mean, it all comes back to the control, but like the sentiment of the masses,
right,
in a way, or
influence,
guide it if you feel so inclined.
Right. So I like that idea. I think that was a big mark in kind of the measurement of the atmosphere of the population, basically.
Yeah.
And they kind of put it in the video I was watching, but there was like a benchmark where I think it was actually South by Southwest.
Let me cut you off and build on that we just moved off of. That was kind of the mark of when, because I used MySpace with only people I knew, and maybe some music profiles. And in the beginning of Facebook, it worked that way. and the timelines were mostly sequential in time of when it was posted.
Right.
And then when hashtags came out, I don't know that they totally line up, but around that time, it became your feed was collated. Like it wasn't a timeline anymore. Like
No.
that.
It was
That
what was
word
trending.
became
It was
not
whatever was
useful.
trending for that day was pushed to the top of your view.
It's
of
like
what
the
was happening.
inception of the algorithms. I'm sure we'll get into more. It is when is kind of the generation of hashtag that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm just the context around that is I think is kind of imperative as well. Like the nature of social media at that moment changed completely.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think
what
a hashtag started on Twitter. No.
That's what I was getting at. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
2010, you had the introduction of this trend, the idea, the concept, basically, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at first, and I feel like it was like innocent stuff, like people put hashtag like, I can't remember the stupidest hashtags we used to have, but hashtags used to be the like almost the original memes, right? Like you would put hashtags,
Yeah.
some stupid joke.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that
Ooh.
It'd
2000,
be like ridiculous.
I have a really funny story about MySpace.
sometime
I
around
felt-
that 2010 benchmark, it got turned into a measurement, like a tool. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Almost like a game of who can get the most clicks rather than I want to stay connected with my friends. It's kind of when that game starts, right?
Yeah.
MySpace. I figured out that you could break people's comment boxes by inserting too many characters. Like if you just hit enter 30 times and then copy and pasted it like 30 more times and posted it, their comments on their page would go away completely. But people didn't go to their page to look at their own page unless they're editing the bullshit HTML files or whatever. So for like a month, you could break someone's comment section. They would have no idea because they, on their end, would only see your comment and go, that's stupid. It makes no sense. And then move on. And so you could like break people's psyche because they'd be like, no one's commenting on my page. And it's because the box is gone. I should have been in the CIA.
I gotta ask for your motivation behind that.
Honestly,
how'd you find that out?
I was trying to fuck with Adam.
Mm.
And I was just trying to like make all his comments disappear and mine be the only comment. And then it removed the box entirely. And I went, oh, this is a powerful thing I've just learned. I'm going to mess with people.
Clayton is the original troll.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I don't even have my fucking light on.
If we clip this, you're going to look different.
I can't. Nope. It's broken. Can't do anything about it. This is me.
Anyway, so 2010, the internet changed forever.
Yeah, 2010, you go from hanging out with your friends to what is...
It's kind of the disappearing of the wild, wild west
Right.
of the internet, too. That's when everyone got kind of cognizant that what you post is never going away.
Yeah. Like nudes and all
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
It's a weird concept. Like, we got the very, very, I guess, fringe of it at the beginning of it. Like, but there's kids that are growing up with 30-year-old Instagram pages, not 30-year-old Instagram pages, 30-year-old Facebook pages, right?
No, because I'm 30. They have 15-year-old Facebook pages, maybe.
I mean, that's probably more.
If they made it when they were born.
If that probably makes more sense. Well, no, I'm saying 2000. When did you say that was opened up to the public?
2006.
2006. There's 18-year-olds that are born in 2006. 100%. Yeah.
Okay, here's the question that I don't know the answer to because I didn't get a Facebook until 2006, maybe 7. Who knows? When
that's
do
so
people,
early. I
when do-
just got it a few years ago.
When do people make a Facebook page now? What age?
I would say anywhere
13.
between the ages of 65 and 75.
Years old? That's all who uses it now?
I don't know who's creating Facebook pages.
their stock is
outside
tanking,
of
so-
like companies and stuff, like individual personal people are still creating Facebook pages.
Yeah, we have cousins whose
you'd
entire lives are on
you'd be
Instagram.
shocked. Yeah.
I mean that we'll get back to that in like the psychological effects of social media on people, and that's just it provides a lot of context because I think the people who are who can have this conversation now. Like, there's probably a 20-year-old we could talk to about this who would have sentient points and a good argument. But the people who have these conversations mostly are our age. You know, they're not young people.
Yeah.
And I think it does not strike those young people to have these conversations because it is the norm. You know?
I think that's fair. Like they grew up in a world where they didn't recognize anything else. That was their reality that they were born into. So they don't know anything else. The free will argument.
In some manner, the word privacy does not have the same definition.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
To me and to them.
Like,
because
the definition of privacy is different for them than it is us, maybe?
Yeah, in like a general context, because like I don't use a whole lot of social media. It's only to, bolster. I mean, I'm on Twitch right now. I understand the irony in what I'm saying, but I only use it to kind of promote shows or things I'm doing. I used to do it with music shows, but I wouldn't post like, this is what I'm doing today,
I mean, you're not pushing an agenda or anything like that. Necessarily.
Okay. So privacy to me means I don't care for people to know what I'm doing all the time. I don't want to be tracked. I don't want to put my phone number in at the grocery store so you can see what's on my receipt. None of that is necessary.
Right.
But I think younger people who have had social media for so long, that sentiment is like, why? Why do you care? Because they don't know what people not knowing what you're doing feels like.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
They want that. They want people to know exactly what they're doing all day, every day. So they're on Snapchat all day if they're like younger kids, Snapchatting their friends constantly.
Yeah, you can't miss what you never had. That's a good way to put it, Ranch.
I don't know. I think everybody experiences like spam calls and spam emails and try to avoid that. So I imagine there's some level of anonymity that they want to keep, right?
No.
What's up, Ranch? Appreciate you.
What up, Ranch?
Appreciate you being in here. Being here. Being you. Being here, being you. That's a Modest Mouse song.
I mean, nobody wants spam calls, but I don't think that's anonymity.
No, I'm saying they would seek anonymity for the sake of not getting spam calls. You know how many fucking texts I got from Greg Abbott himself this week? Like, me and him are on a first name basis. He texts me at 9 a.m. He texts me at 9 p.m.
Ooh, you gave your phone number to the wrong person.
Dude, I think it's my work number, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, whoever sold my work number, like,
yeah. That's why that's part of the reason I don't. That comes back to the data mining. Like, the reason I don't give my phone number for like rewards programs at any store is because I don't want people to call me. I'm not going to give my phone number to someone I do not want to call me. Yeah. And PetSmart doesn't ever need to call me. They don't need my fucking phone number. No, that's just how your account is set up. No, then no. Pick a different number. Give me a random one. How about you give me a random number and you never get my phone number? Then I'll sign up.
Every time we go grocery shopping at Berkshire's, they ask for your loyalty card or something like that. I don't have a loyalty card. I always tell them to use the city fire department.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they get the fuel reward points, whatever it is.
They probably don't need it. You're already paying them taxes.
Some people, there's just no pleasing.
Just as a libertarian, you've already paid for the gas. Why are you paying for it?
Well, a lot of people like, okay,
it's
so
better than foregoing on them altogether, in my mind.
Clayton, you can live life and not ever post anything and be fucking happy and not let anyone ever know anything you ever do besides like your shows. And you're like, this is great.
Yeah, like when I have cool stuff that normally people would post, I just send it to who I think might like it that I know.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like I send text messages to people of that shit.
And you have this study, it's called No More FOMO, which is
fear of missing out.
And that was like me for a long time, especially on social media. Just like, all right, I don't want to get off these certain platforms because I'll be missing out. Whether it's music I like, whether it's people's birthdays, shit like that that you care about, like people's lives that you want to stay in contact with, but you're not on a talking basis with them 24/7.
Mhm.
And that's why. But it's at the same time, it's like fuck it, like. You're going to talk to who you want to talk to. When you reach out to that person, you'll talk about, hey, what's up? How you been? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think it's better to not let every app just track everything we're doing and constantly have to live behind a screen and posting every single thing we do. And especially like going on vacation. Like, yes, when you go on vacation, you want to take pictures and you want to take video for memorabilia, but also you need to live through your own eyes and
Yeah.
not just the camera lens.
And I think there's a difference in thought process where people are like, ooh, this would be a good picture. A lot of people would like it. And I go, I want
And
to
that gives
remember
them
this moment.
dopamine.
I want to remember this
dopamine
moment.
rush.
Like, this is my moment. I want to keep it. I don't have to show anybody this. I like this,
No, I was gonna get into that too. Like, I have it's a personal thing. I don't hold this standard for anybody else, and that's a straight up lie. But like, candid moments versus like staging something to me, I lose all interest, all authentic. Like, it just doesn't matter to me at all. Like, it was a staged, scripted event.
I totally made this same comment the other day. Me and my wife were hanging out with a friend, and they were talking about someone, and they looked at their Instagram, and I was like, I want you to count how many of those pictures don't have a filter on them. And they scrolled through, and they were like, none of them. And I was like, isn't that weird? I've never put a filter on a picture ever. Like, there's such a change in thought processes in some people, and like that was just a kind of pertinent moment where I was like, yeah, that's weird, right?
There's a filter on you right now.
Okay, but you put it on there.
No, I didn't. I cropped you, but I didn't put a filter on you.
Well, there's not a filter on me then.
The fuck you talk about, man? It's
but like, there's Instagram pages of people, private people, where none of the photos are real.
Yeah,
they're all filters. That's weird.
Can you restate that?
There's Instagram pages of real private people where none of the pictures are unaffected, are unedited, or unfiltered.
Okay.
So like the purpose has now moved away from
cameras do have auto filters.
From this is what I'm doing to this is what I want you to think I'm doing.
This is what looks good.
Yeah.
Look how cool.
Which is another step past that.
We need to get Mitch in here. McDangler, I'm sorry. Androids do, like, by default have a filter on them. I don't know if Apple does. I don't think, like, just the default camera app on the Apple phone does, but Snapchat does for sure. I think Instagram has default filters it applies. It's just their own brand curation. And that's... Dude, yeah, like... Yeah. You have a filtered if you're the only way you're viewing reality is through this black mirror in your hand, right? Like you have a filter on a filter on a filter of reality. Like it's just, what are you even experiencing at that point?
And I think a lot of people get disconnected from the filtering of all these things and don't apply it to literally everything you see on the internet, which you should do.
We're going to get into that. We keep saying we're going to get into that. And so what are we going to get into next? Do you want to get into the psychological stuff? Because I feel like that's what we keep like dancing around.
We are dancing around it, but no, I want to pivot back to the inception and the government involvement. This is how this show works. We tangent and we get to points that we're going to talk about later, and then we tell you.
Go ahead. Then take it.
Who knows if we'll ever get there. All right. Click the link for the Information Awareness Office. This is not a huge point, but I do want want you to click the link.
Office?
Okay. Yeah.
Wikipedia link.
Okay, so we're going back to DARPA. DARPA created LifeLog that ended right before Facebook. This is one of their other things. Will you look at that emblem in the picture?
I thought that was some kind of Wikipedia thing. What are you talking about?
It is a Wikipedia. thing looks different. Scroll down.
What do you want?
Did you not click the link?
I did. The copy and paste. I didn't know if I could click it. Can I click it?
Yeah, you can just click it.
I have to like.
It did not go where mine took me.
Is that what you were thinking right here?
Yes. Do you think I sent you a virus?
I have no idea what's happening right now.
Do you see that badge? Look
This
at the
one
badge.
right here. It's got a pyramid. We were talking about that last week.
Does that not look crazy? Why would that be the badge?
A pyramid watching the Earth. I don't. Why? Where would they get the idea of a pyramid watching the Earth? Why is that prominent in everything we talk about?
Because in January 2002, it was established to bring together several DARPA projects focused on applying surveillance and information technology to track and monitor terrorists and other asymmetric threats to U.S. national security by achieving total information awareness. There's another precursor to all the data mining. And it's another instance where they said, we're not going to use this in the U.S.
Is this
And-
after the Patriot Act?
Like, who knows if they did. Yeah, because I think the Patriot Act was 2001 or 2002.
Do we not have
So it's
that in the notes?
right around that.
This
We have
was
it in
de-
the notes, but I just didn't know exactly.
No, Patriot Act was
when.
2001, 2002. Sorry.
That's what we're asking. Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, it was 9/11.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is probably right in there with the Patriot Act. This probably got passed
That's what I'm
right
saying,
after
'cause-
because the Patriot Act
yeah.
made it legal.
It had to have.
The Patriot
It all
Act
ties
made it legal
together.
to collect data on U.S. citizens. Why did we find the United States? Like, what's the whole point we're here?
So the government can track us and decide what we buy. I don't know.
Dude, if you're going to touch
It's
base
just
on...
it's just how social media can cause you to have such depression, whether it's you looking at really attractive looking people and comparing your bodies to them, people that might be on vacation all the time, and then you're at work all the time, so you're like, oh, my life sucks because I'm not the one traveling.
Yeah, you're like
It could
comparing your worth.
Yeah, you're comparing your worth, and then this person might be thriving at their business, but behind the camera, that person that is posting all this glorious shit might also be experiencing some depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of whatever addiction. Who knows?
Yeah, they could be addicted to meth. Like,
Dude,
but meth addicts
Like-
don't show you pictures of the meth they're smoking.
Like
unless
Hunter
they're
Biden,
Gone.
he was a millionaire and a crackhead.
Oh, yeah, that kind of ties back in because there's like a list of things. So these DHS leaks go back to 2020. And I think if you zoom out of the world and look back 2 years and then forward 2 years, you can see this happening as far as the government telling social media companies what you can and cannot do. And I like to rationalize unrational positions as if I'm that person with those responsibilities. So, if you place yourself in the context of someone in charge of some intelligence agency, and people are more online than they ever have been because they're stuck at home and they're saying crazy shit, I can see how you would rationalize doing this, but it's still wrong. Does that make sense? So they're like, I'm terrified of talking about COVID. But there's like a list of things that were flip-flopped as far as what would get you kicked off of social media and then what came out 2 months later. There was like a running meme through this time of like, just wait 2 months, the conspiracy theorists will be right, which is an insane meme. So like, you weren't allowed to say for the longest time that it probably came from a lab. People were getting removed from social media. Who knows if they got back on? And then a year later, that's kind of like the consensus of the scientific community. Like, well, that is, I mean, Jon Stewart went on Stephen Colbert and had a hilarious clip saying like, oh, you're saying you found chocolate next to a chocolate factory, but it definitely didn't come from the chocolate factory? That's insane. Like, he went on a whole tangent on Stephen Colbert. It was kind of wall breaking.
Great.
So it was stuff like that. It was vaccine information that then later became untrue as far as like in the beginning, it would keep
Not
you
helping
from
the spread.
getting It would keep you from spreading. And then last week, the New York Supreme Court just reinstated all the people that were fired for not getting it because it was proven to not prevent transmission, and ordered that they get back pay.
Good.
And so you're watching, like, I mean, you can see what is getting ripped off of these sites for being disinformation. And then you're seeing it 6 months later being totally refuted by, like, half the time the same people who told you to do that. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Does that make sense a lot?
It does make sense. You want affirmation of your ideas, and that is a totally valid emotion.
Well, and then you get back to the Hunter Biden laptop story. That's how we kind of reached this. And then 2020, right before the election, it drops. I mean, obviously, this is a political ploy. And
isn't it weird that this stuff kind of lines up with political cycles? Like,
the October surprise, if you will, of every election happens. And so that was the 2020 election's October surprise. And it got removed from Twitter totally. The Washington Post was not allowed to post until they deleted that tweet. Facebook, Zuck said on JRE that the FBI
in the
said this is Russian disinformation, and they downranked it in the algorithm to like no end. He said they didn't ban anybody, but right after that came out, I mean, grain of salt, how I take the entire internet, people were saying, no, I got banned for posting that. So who knows? And then there's polls that came out right after the election that said, if you knew about this before the election, would you have voted for Biden? And the percentage kind of leads to the assumption that Biden would not have won if this did come out. It was a real story. Everything on it, it was his laptop. Like it is that crazy. It shows that Biden, because Biden says he doesn't know anything about Hunter's business dealings, and that laptop totally refutes that. So
yeah,
it's kind of crazy that it's still not in the news. But
yeah.
So there's just all these things that you cannot talk about, or you get kicked off, and they're not wrong. So
it just wasn't conducive to that time.
It's
at
like
that moment.
It's like everything we said 2 years ago was all true from the very beginning.
Well, yeah, and there's a question of like, did you know it was true, or are you making an educated guess that just happened to be real or whatever?
I just made an educated guess.
There's a lot of minutia to go through, but if it now comes out that the government is telling these social media companies that they can't post this stuff, which it did,
right,
then it's kind of obvious to tell what they're talking about. Because even if you go through that, I think it's on The Intercept, if you go through that article, it says that they were guiding COVID misinformation, election misinformation, disinformation. They had like 3 words for wrong speak, basically.
Yeah.
And it was COVID, racial justice, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and one that I already named that I didn't come back to. So let's zoom in on the Ukraine one. The government is directing the consensus of the people, the largest social media platforms, how to stand on the Ukraine-Russian war. That's insane. The government is pushing people to be okay with that happening. A war, a possible nuclear war.
I would just play devil's advocate and say, how are they doing that? Because I'm not the best example, because I'm the unicorn. I'm outside of a lot of these bubbles. I don't really get necessarily exposure to a lot of this stuff. I'm trying to argue, if you elect to kind of withhold from those circles, like, how are they driving that narrative, I guess?
What do you mean?
If you're not participating, then they don't really have the control to do that, I'm saying.
I don't think you can be on those sites and not participate.
So even
Name
sites,
a site
even
that
sites,
you can be on and not participate.
This was kind of the
participation is required to be on social media, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's one of the points we were going to get to later on. I thought, and I keep saying later on, we are at the hour mark, so I'm going to finish my point, and then we'll get into what we're going to do at the hour. But
is that a pee break?
No, you done it. You did it. I've lost it.
No, go to your point.
What was I saying?
I'm saying that to be on social media, you have to participate.
Okay.
Even by being an observer, a passive observer,
Okay.
and maintaining your own thought process through all the things that they're showing you anyways,
Right.
you're being affected. If you understand what the social climate is, you're affected.
If you understand what the social climate is, you're affected.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I meant that. That's what I said.
I would say it's a responsibility for an individual to be aware of what's going on, right? I think that's kind of what I'm alluding to. Yeah.
Okay, but my point is, what are you aware of really? Are you aware of what's going on? Are you aware of what is being put in front of you and are being told is going on?
So
There you go.
That's what I was saying, and that's what the broader stroke is. I think there's these echo chambers that you can get locked into. I'm saying it's the responsibility of the individual to be aware of that. And I'm going to make an analog toward a diet. I don't want to do that right now, but you have a responsibility to be a well-informed, educated, sovereign people. Like, that is part of the obligation of being a voting populace, is that you're an informed voting populace. You're not just going and checking a mark for Team Red, Team Blue, right? You're making an informed, conscious decision based on actual facts, not just, hey, I've always voted Republican, so I'm going to go vote Republican because that's what I identify in some kind of weird moral sense. I don't know.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
So, like, also, like you just said, like, you're not going to vote just red or blue. You also need to have an open mind, question both sides, agree and disagree with both sides. You also need to not just go off of one particular side because your whole family is on that whole side. You can be the black sheep and be, if your whole family's red, you might be the blue, or vice versa. Or you might just be like me and be like, fuck the red and the blue. It's all an agenda. It's all theater anyways. It's all one fucking plan. But pulling back,
Get it, Drake.
I know I don't want to get too far ahead. I'm
You're good,
excited.
man. We're at the hour mark where all gates are open.
I'm getting excited. But it's just don't. You just need to have an open mind and don't go vote for a name or
a letter next to a name.
A letter next to a name, or because you hate one person, you're gonna go vote for the opposite. Like, I get it. You're picking a lesser evil, in my opinion, for whether it's governors, presidents, especially anybody. In my opinion, most of them are bad. There are probably a lot of, or some in there that have good intentions, but once they get that corrupt money in there, once they get bought out, once a lot of that power gets to them, it's over. And especially coming from, like, if you were nobody and you get into politics and then you get money and then you're like, oh, I've never had this and I'm getting more powerful and now you're Hillary Clinton and now you got a body count and now there's
a body count.
Well, and there's also an aspect to that where if you don't play ball, you don't get the committees. Like, if you're in Congress, you don't get put on committee. Like, you'll get blackballed within that industry, like any other industry, if you swim the wrong way.
Yeah. No, I think we need to touch on chat. I agree with what they're saying. I think the algorithm is doing what it's designed to do, right? And I think that's what we were trying to touch base on last episode.
Yeah, and I somewhat disagree.
Okay. Halftime. So I'm going to play director role and say it is the hour mark. Bathroom breaks, if they're required.
Okay, and when we come back, we're talking about the algorithm.
Real quick poll in chat. Do y'all want the waiting screen? Do y'all want to just sit here in silence? What do y'all want? Intro? I can't get the Bo Burnham shit to play. I would play that for you guys. I'm going to give you a waiting screen. You took too long. Be right back. We're back. One toilet, 3 streams, Swordify. All right. They are. Oh, chat was going off while we were going, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, don't have
We're in
desktop
3 different
audio.
rooms.
There's
Oh,
desktop
okay.
audio. My bad.
Well,
We're back.
Cameron's on a green screen. Anyways, we're talking about the algorithm. And chat and you think that it's mostly organic. I'm going to say total. This is your argument in my head. The algorithm you're fed is organic based on engagements of the posts that you're being given, the algorithm is giving you, how liked and engaged with those posts are, and how they reflect to what you search for. And so that they're taking your interests and showing you the most popular things of your interests. And I believe that they are gauging your interest and giving you things you're interested in, but I do not believe that it is organic, or to the extent at least that I think y'all do.
I'm not going to break it down into percentages, but I would say in the majority is driven by you, your internal curation of that algorithm. I think maybe 80-90% of that is your orchestration of what you're seeing. I think I'm going to give you the other 10%. And by that, I mean to say that there are, I'm not even going to say political. I'm just going to say there's money involved. There's corporations feeding Facebook, whoever's driving these algorithms to feed you certain stuff. I'm going to say that's 10%. I don't think it's a full 100%. I don't think it's completely organic. I think 90-10. I think 90% of it you're probably getting claps when you don't want it, and then the other time you're getting, I don't know, handshakes.
Okay, and to rephrase that, T-Pain has a Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I can be proven wrong live right now. I think if you were to YouTube T-Pain, his Twitch isn't popping up first. But you watching his Twitch clip is how he gets the most of his money, and it is the most interactive thing you can do with T-Pain, except watch his live stream. But you're going to get a song, or you're going to get him on Jimmy Fallon, or something like that. Does that make sense?
So if I Google T-Pain, I'm not going to get his personal Twitch page?
Like his Twitch clips page.
I think if you Google T-Pain, you're going to get it whatever is the most trending, the most active clicked link at that time.
And it is his music page.
I would say that's whatever he's
page, to be
pushing at the
honest with you.
time. I would say he does have control over that maybe, and I'm using him as a placeholder for any government entity, anybody to say, hey, like this is what we want to pop up first on Google. The first thing that pops up on Google, and this has been 15, 20 years now, are ads. Like the first 3 or 4 links that you get, like I had to teach myself this. If you Google something, the first 4 are just generic ads that have no relation to your specific Google. It might have some kind of correlation to it, but I'm saying like if you put something into Google, the first 4 are going to be ads regardless. Just something generic maybe that's touching on the subject that you're Googling, but it's maybe not even what you're Googling. It's just an ad.
Yeah, and I think Ranch just pointed out how bad of an argument this was. But Ketchup kind of relayed my idea incorrectly to me.
I think me and Rancher's arguing the same thing.
Which I think is where the disconnect is. So he said, you think they have the time to custom tailor every person's experience maybe in 15, 30 years with more advanced machine learning and reinforcement learning?
I'm logged into our common...
That is not at all what I think. I don't think they're personally tailoring everybody's thing. I think you don't control the masses with one video. And that's what these things are doing. They're controlling the sentiment of the population. And they don't do that by me looking at guitars and them just showing me every guitar, or like what is most related to what I look at in guitars with the most engagement. Man, it's so hard to build a parallel here. They have like silenced guitars and really loud guitar channels in their algorithm.
It was the same argument I was doing last week with the red guitars, blue guitars.
Okay, maybe that's why I brought it up. But I think there's another layer to the algorithm that's biased and pointed in very unnatural and inorganic ways. And it's not.
I agree with everything both of you were saying.
Controlling the masses does pay stakeholders.
Controlling the masses is definitely profit driven and
what it
definitely increases profits. 100%. I would counter that and say absolutely I don't agree with that.
I like
Controlling the
Headset's
masses
latest
doesn't
comment.
pay stakeholders. Controlling the masses absolutely controls stakeholders. I think you worded that one wrong, Jason.
And also, I can agree with you, and you're still wrong because Twitter is not profitable and hasn't been for years. Facebook's just took a dive.
If you get to control what is popular, what is trending, then you are. It's like playing the stock market. What's going to be up this week? Oh, I could directly influence what's going to be up this week. Here, let me push this button. Oh, coffee's trending this week. Make sure you buy, sell your coffee. I don't know how that works.
Here's a sentence I heard repeatedly looking at all this social media shit this week. That if they're not selling you a product, then you are the product.
Yes.
But it's not that simple.
That's in the social dilemma. We were talking about that.
Right. And I'm going to talk about what that guy who looks like he quit corn 2 years ago said. Because he said, someone said that, and he went, it's not that simple. Their job is for the ads to work. So these social media companies' job is to move your ideas or what you would do 1%, 0.5%. Who cares how much? But they need the ad to work, which means they need you to do something you weren't going to do. And okay, so if you say that that's a bag of chips, who gives a fuck? But if you say that's a political ad, that's crazy.
It's a different kind of demo. Controlling the masses is done by the everyday news. So controlling the masses is done by the everyday news. That's a bullet point we're going to get on. The next bullet point we're going to get on. We're just doing this first. Do they Twitter show selling information versus what they make on ads? I doubt. I think they would probably want to keep that very private. There's no different than Dr. Pepper murals being painted on the side of a building downtown.
It's 100% different because on the internet, that mural changes to data you've given them. It's not Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I would say it's both, right? The Dr. Pepper company came and paid for this billboard where they know a high traffic of people is going to be. That to me is different than saying, hey, we're going to feed you this Dr. Pepper ad because of some XYZ links that you clicked. They're trying to influence consumers with brand recognition. Facebook found a way to make themselves the virtual building.
But
that's what they were getting to in the social dilemma.
They did so much more than that, though, because Facebook actually knows when you're taking a shit. That's how much data they collect. They
were getting into the social dilemma.
They can predict that you're taking a dump. They know so much about you. Someone who knows that much about me has a really higher percentage of selling me something I didn't want or need, but just I saw it. And then if you apply these advertising ideals and situations to things that are not as innocent as consumer projects, and like a perfect example is Andrew Tate. Why did Andrew Tate go viral?
I don't know. You said this. I got it. I know.
Why did he get pushed?
Because he found some kind of loophole or triggered something in the algorithm. It's you.
Don't be mad when you have a heart attack and the ambulance doesn't know to show up in 10 years.
What?
Damn, what? I'm confused by that comment.
Because they have so much data, they would know when I had a heart attack. Like if you're wearing an Apple Watch.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you're right.
Like technically your Apple Watch probably today has the capacity to call the cops for you if your heart stops. But they don't do it because if you take the watch off, they don't know. Does that make sense? Like that technology exists, and if I'm fighting against it the entire time and what they're allowed to know about me, then
dude,
I won't be saved.
some of the broader strokes that I was.
But
my closing-
philosophically, I think them not knowing unless they want them to is more important than them saving my life.
That's what I was getting
following
into.
these comments. Yeah, it looks like they do know.
Yeah, Ranch said they already know if you're having a heart attack.
Yeah.
You don't have to put it on me.
So
No. Go ahead, Clay.
Ketchup is very good at explaining what I believe to be the consensus of how people think about social media companies. But given that I don't think they're birthed out of natural progressions and that they've been controlled since their inception, I can transpose that to today and with the technology growth in 20 years. And I think it would be really fucking stupid for a government to not be taking advantage of that.
I think that's what we were showing with the Mockingbird stuff, is that have
A government that has proven to overstep rights as much as ours already has.
Like the First Amendment.
I mean, look at the Edward Snowden shit. The NSA is doing what I'm talking about.
That's what the Mockingbird thinks that we've opened with. That's evidence that they've practiced this stuff, that they know how to do it, and down to a science and stuff like that, right? That's what we were.
In probably ways that are impossible to explain because it's literally an algorithm code.
All right. So the algorithm, right? So I think it is a 90-10 split. I think it's just me being the optimist saying that maybe, it started off with good intentions and that for maybe 3 or 4 years we got maybe like a golden era of algorithm, right? Like where it was just
totally agree.
Just organic, and you got just kind of like just based on your own pure curation. I think the DHS
I would pay $8 a month to Elon Musk if he turned my Twitter into a chronological timeline and didn't give me ads, didn't give me anything from the algorithm. Is what I wanted to look at.
I don't think he's incentivized.
I would pay him $8.
I don't think he's incentivized to do that. I think.
Yeah, he is. I'm paying him $8. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that I think underneath the mask of Musk, his motivation was money, and I don't think he's gonna let Twitter not be a source of revenue for him. Especially, I think
it will be. I'm paying him $8.
That to me is evidence that he is trying to monetize as much as possible. He's not gonna mess with your time feed based on. He's not gonna ruin the ad. You're saying he's gonna. You would say if
he makes more money, he makes more than $8 off me by selling my data and my Web 2.0 cache and cookies, and the money he gets from advertisers for doing so.
He's gonna make the $8. I'm saying he's making more money by letting them curate your feed. That's what I'm saying. He's not gonna let them. He's not gonna let.
I agree,
go back.
But I think your argument boils down to that he would make more than $8 a month off of me personally to not allow me to pay for him to do that.
You're saying if it was built into the $8?
If he changed his business model to what I just said, Twitter's done in a day.
It's done in a day, but it would be a good thing, right?
Yeah, it would be good for me.
It'd be good for
that
me.
is how I want all of those sites to. I would use them again if that's how they worked.
I would agree with Wasabi. I would think having a more organic timeline would be fair for more beneficial. Would be more beneficial to individual. Well, we touched on that last week too. Like, we meant to bring it up here on the show. It might be this is the time to do it, but some kind of publicly funded, some kind of public forum where I don't think you pay a subscription fee. I think it's built into your taxes, but it's funded by your tax money that you have access to a public free speech forum. And I hate the idea of thinking, it's something akin to Facebook or Twitter or something like that. It's just ran by the government. To me, that is like inherently wrong. But the more you get, so like you were touching base on, like AT&T, like got kind of locked into them being a social utility, not a social utility, but like a social service. Like they're a public service, public utility. Like you can't deny people access to this public utility based on some private agenda. Does that make sense?
Your argument is it doesn't have to be Twitter, but there should be.
I'm saying there should be some kind of
free public.
There should be some kind of public forum that you have access to based on paying taxes. I'm saying it's not some incremental value that you have to pay into. It's just built into the tax revenue that you're already paying. Like you're already
Now-
paying for this service.
The ultimate argument against what I agree with what you said and how you said it, I guess. 4chan is free. And it is that. And it is not okay to look at.
I don't know much about 4chan. I know it's like one of the darker corners. I mean, I don't think it's funded by public money though.
Specifically
For sure.
Poll. No, it's private, but they don't pull anything off unless it's breaking the law. And that is the Wild West has a dark corner, you know? That's the argument against us.
Texas is an open carry state. You could just walk around with a gun, right?
Yeah.
There's some value in the Old West. You couldn't walk around talking shit to people, man, and not get shot in the face.
Right.
I'm going to argue against myself for 20 minutes straight. Okay.
No.
So 4chan's free. There's not enough people on it. And the people that are attracted to a 4chan-esque site are more prone to doing what they're doing over there.
That was your
But if you had as many people as Twitter, people are self-censoring, but they're not self-censoring 4chan off of themselves. They're self-censoring like you can't tweet learn to code. Or you couldn't before Elon.
Dude, freaking sticks and stones, man. How coddled do you want the population to be? Like, oh, we can't say anything to hurt people's feelings these days. Like, oh, we're so fragile. We can't walk around with people saying... I'm not arguing for being able to say offensive shit. I'm just saying, like... It was the argument I was trying to make last week. You can't walk into a movie theater and say there's a fire, right? Like, that's the argument for free speech usually, right?
Yeah, but I proved everyone wrong in that. Are you gonna make me say this on another stream?
No,
I feel like it's a dangerous thing
you're
to say.
saying that it wasn't actually illegal. It's just like
right.
It would I think we get settled on you would get a ticket.
No, you would get escorted off the premises
but not arrested.
You wouldn't be allowed back.
I think they could probably find a way to press charges if they really wanted to.
I think the loophole here is if you say that and you create a mob and someone gets hurt, you're responsible. Or like you'd be responsible for the loss of revenue to the theater. But it's not illegal to say that.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, there's no mechanism in real life that is holding your tongue from saying this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to shoot myself in the foot. I want to say the internet should follow that same format. You should be able, if you as an individual want to go and say the most racist, the most obscure, the most offensive thing that you can think of.
Obscene is the word you were trying to say. But yes.
There's nothing stopping you tangibly in the real world from like moving your tongue to form those sounds and stuff. Like, you're going to do it if you want to do it. And then you're going to face the repercussions. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you. If you were in the Wild West 100 years ago, you'd get shot.
Yeah, the cultural implications of doing something like that are still to the extent that
the internet
should do stuff.
The internet should be a crucible. It should be an open platform for people to go online and spew this shit. And the people that are singled out for saying this stuff, like the people that are obscene and that are offensive, like they're gonna get called out. They're gonna get pushed up against. They're gonna get They're gonna meet a wall. They're gonna meet some kind of general consistency. That's why we're in a society, right? Like, it's not an echo chamber. No man is an island. You go out there and you voice your opinions, and then they get put through this crucible of like what is actually right and what's versus wrong, based on what we, as a society, agree on as an objective reality. Everybody's walking around in their own. Go ahead.
Imagine all the people that you're removing. You don't have to full screen me every time I talk, but imagine you're removing people who learn that way from the population.
What do you mean removing people from?
Okay, so some people learn the hard way. What if that was
getting the shit kicked out of them?
Yeah, or being socially excised from their group because they said something crazy on the internet. And then they get a new group of friends and they go, okay, that's not acceptable. Like, that's fine. That's how the world used to function. How come it can't still function that way? How come someone else who's not even related to the conversation other than they have the website that it's happening on. Why do they get to decide what these people are saying if it's not illegal? When both of those people have the ability to block the other person. There's like, you can remove people from your feed, but you can't remove the algorithm, which is a telltale sign that it is evil.
I think you can influence that algorithm.
You can influence, but if you could remove it,
What's
then
left?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying
What's
to
left
allude
is what
to.
you want.
That's what I was
actually.
trying to allude to earlier. Like, it is an individual responsibility to curate this shit. If you're putting yourself in an echo chamber where all you're hearing is the same feedback loop, then that's on you, man. Like, you're putting yourself in that bubble. What I was saying earlier about being an educated, sovereign, voting populace, like, you have a responsibility to be able to, and I'm speaking as a fucking millennial, right? To decipher between what's bullshit and what's not bullshit. And I don't think that's a skill that's taught. I don't think that's a skill that's taught in any medium other than some individual going out and seeking that information on their own.
I 1,000% agree with you, but I also think you're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be stupid.
You are allowed to be wrong, and what I feel like this is pointing at is that you don't even get the chance to be wrong, right? Like, they're gonna say, "Hey, that has already been established as wrong." You don't even get to express that chain of events from happening. Like, we're just gonna nip it in the bud. We've established that's the wrong train of thought. It's done. Don't even venture down it. You don't get to experience that. So now,
You don't tell the government to step in. You fix the. Okay. I'm gonna catch up with chat.
Go ahead.
When we talk about it morally, Ketchup talks about it economically, and then we talk about it economically, and I feel like Ketchup goes back to morally. But I feel like I just threw so much shade that I didn't mean to. And then Ranch said, so now what do? You tell the government to step in and tell this private business how to run themselves. No. Well, in a way.
I
But
think that's what's happening right now, right?
you have to fix 230 because you gave social media companies an exemption from being a publisher, but they are publishers. If they decide in any way what you post and if it's okay or not, and it's not based off US law, then they're publishing. There's a really interesting thing about Wikipedia, though, because Wikipedia is not, it's, what is it, user,
It's supposed to be open source, right?
yeah, it's like open source user created, essentially. So the users can
Edited.
edit. Yeah, they can edit or write or add or remove things from Wikipedia. But if you go to Wikipedia, it says by Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is
That's
telling
the
the
ad
government,
that we keep getting every time we try to go to Wikipedia.
they're telling the government that they're not publishers, and on their own website they are saying we publish this. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And then you go to Twitter and they're saying we're not publishing this, but we are heavily redacting or editing or totally removing or letting everyone know that they just literally can't, or even in some cases promoting. I mean, I keep saying Twitter, every social media company is doing that with their algorithm. Their algorithm boosts and lowers posts. They are publishing.
I feel like a lot of that was open to speculation. I feel like a lot of that.
If they want to act like a publisher, then they have to be responsible for anything anyone says that's crazy or totally incorrect. Like if I tweeted my hat is black or something more consequential, then they could be sued.
Last week you were making an argument about the corporation being sued versus the individual doing the actual nefarious activity. Is that not the same argument?
Yeah, no, they're getting the benefits of not being able to be sued for what they do while acting as like a protected business entity. Yeah, there you go.
I think it's the
so you're exactly right. I am very morally consistent.
Who said that?
You did by saying, isn't that the same argument you made last week? Tangentially?
I mean, I thought you were going the other way with the the Wikipedia stuff, but no, it's the same. It's the exact same. Right.
I'm just saying the rules are clear. Let's abide and change the rules when they're wrong.
I think that's a good segue into the Rumsfeld stuff.
And right now we're not abiding and the rules are wrong.
I think it's a good segue into that stuff, right?
Yeah, this is 2003, you said?
No, this is 19
87.
fucking 49.
That's the law they repealed is 49.
No, that's when that's when we first as a nation got together and we're like, hey, maybe there should be some kind of law in place so that people can't curate this and control what's said. Maybe there should be a law in place to say, hey, if you're gonna be a news agency, all you can do is report news. So in 1949, fucking 70 years ago, oh God, I'm bad at math. 70 years ago.
81.
81 years
84.
ago, they were like, hey, man, maybe we should put some laws in place to prevent stuff from running away, right?
74. I'm still trying to do math.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway.
1949, Democratic Congress got together and said, hey, let's put a place in laws saying, hey, if you're going to be a news agency, if you're going to be somebody that's representing the news, you have to represent the news, not an opinion, not commentary, not what you interpret that to mean or anything like that. Just if you're going to be news, you're going to be news. That's all you can do. That's what that platform does. So I'm going to mess up this timeline, but at some point, I think the Democrat-controlled Congress passed a bill to reinstate the Fairness Act. I had that backwards. So in 1987, a Democrat-controlled Congress tried to reinstate it. I think at one point it was repealed and pushed back, but whatever. In 1987, they were saying, "Hey, let's solidify." Ronald Reagan, the champion of the GOP, vetoes this bill, saying, "No, free markets. If you're gonna start a private business, you should be able to do whatever you want with that private business. And if you decide to be Fox News and have this commentary section, then that's your right as a free enterprise, right?"
Mm-hmm.
That was the argument. That's why I understand Reagan to be kind of the champion of that nonsense argument.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 1987, you get the the veto of the reinstatement of this bill. So in 1987, he says, no, this isn't going to be law anymore. We're going to veto this. Free market, basically. 1990, you get Fox News pop up, and Fox News grows into the entity it does today because of the repercussions of this veto in 1987.
Yeah. They were the first pointed news network.
That's the bullet point I was getting to back earlier about the echo chambers, right? So you have people on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blah, 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 getting themselves into these echo chambers where they are curating their algorithm. Like, that's what I'm saying. It might be innocent and say, hey, like, I'm a Republican. I'm going to keep liking these Republican ads. I'm going to keep doing this. And you're getting fed Republican data, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but now those algorithms are actually feeding off of a law that was repealed.
I'm saying
now
this opened the floodgates.
all this content that they're getting
activity
is now allowed to be biased news.
So the echo chamber, to me, the algorithm, the example that I was giving, is just, it's like, it's not a mirror. It's like our iteration of it. Like legacy media, the Fox Newses, the like 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock news that our parents, that our grandparents listen to, that's the echo chamber. That's where it started, right? And that's what I'm saying. 1987, you get the veto of this bill, and then you get Fox News that starts reporting Republican news and the Republican twist on the news. And like, hey, this is why this should be the narrative. This is why this should be the dialogue we're having, right?
And I think it's arguable that since then, every news organization that maybe existed then and has popped up since has turned to a side.
No, it's free market. It's clickbait, dude. They're incentivized to be a certain narrative. They're incentivized to feed you this information. If you're left leaning, they're gonna feed you left leaning stuff. It's like it's built into the incentive. It's built incentively to feed you this information.
It's in the business model. Yeah,
it's in the business model. Yeah.
Ketchup. You should go to 3 screen more so Drake's on screen sometimes. Ketchup said Fox News tax filing show it's an entertainment business, not a news org. Interestingly enough, I happen to know that most, if not all, of the major sports corporations, NBA, NFL, MLB, are also filed as a entertainment organization, so that technically they could script every game and get away with it legally. But
That's interesting.
if you file taxes as a sports organization, it has to be organic in who wins.
That's really interesting. Like, what else?
I think. Well, we could do a whole episode on how
That's what I was about to say,
sports
because
are fixed. I would love to do that.
Yep.
But I think the argument, or what seems to be the argument to me, is they don't want to be sued by people if they get it wrong. Like, say a ref throws a flag last play of the Super Bowl, millions of people lose millions of dollars. They're not liable because it's an entertainment. It's not competition.
I'm not. I don't want to understand all that necessarily, but that does seem like a red flag.
It's actually a yellow flag in football.
I'm gonna give you a clap for that one.
All right.
What do they do in hockey?
They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they just go, all right, fight now, I guess. We'll see who loses.
Who can throw the best punch?
That sounds wrong to read, but I'll try it. There's a funny segment in Bowling for Columbine where Michael Moore goes into the difference between American and Canadian news and how the American news is more sensationalized. Dude, we
that was like mid-2000s,
any British reality show, and it is a completely different format than American reality. And to me, it's just the furthest dramatic example of that. Like, there's something inherent in American culture, something where they like cut away before they reveal the whatever, like the final winner or something like that. Like,
do you remember that Super Bowl where they literally turned the fucking lights off?
No.
It was the Ravens and the 49ers. Like, in the middle of the second half, the lights died, and then the team that was down came back. The Ravens beat the Niners when they were down like 14 points or something. But there was like a 10-minute section of that Super Bowl. I was hammered. It was like right when I started drinking. But the lights were gone. Like, they shut the whole stadium lights down for, it probably wasn't 10 minutes, but it's, we'll get into it when we talk about how sports are fixed.
Oh, the sports being.
Yeah.
I think we could do a whole episode on, organized.
I would love to do that.
So,
all right, so let's get through this. This might end up being a two-parter, but let's get through this. That's what I was about to say.
Like, we haven't even gotten into the psychological piece, and I feel like that might need to be a whole episode. No,
we have like 3-4 more points. I have a whole section on the influence on social media companies by government entities or just rich people that we still have to get to. So, you were talking about Rumsfeld. Actually Reagan, and how they made it to where the news can be biased, and so we're going back to legacy media, the pre-internet forms of information.
Yeah.
And then so the next thing there's probably a lot more, but the next thing I found that was really sketchy, and it'll be the link right after that paragraph if you're looking at that document, is in, I didn't write down what year it was, 2012. Obama signs an amendment to the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948, allowing information and psychological operations aimed at influencing U.S. public opinion.
Where's that?
Which is, it's right under what you wrote about Reagan and Rumsfeld. No, not in there. It's in the. It's where you were. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. It's close to the top. It's in the section we're talking about. Anyways, so essentially he made propaganda legal in America again by repealing this 1948 act that made propaganda illegal in America, because they had just seen what happens when a country makes propaganda legal. 6 years prior? Isn't that crazy? Propaganda is legal. Did you know that?
That's not a very shocking revelation to me.
Yeah, especially post Patriot Act.
Anybody that pays attention to the news or anybody on social media it's evident. Propaganda is 100%.
Yeah, it's just another tidbit in the government, kind of.
It is a symptom of capitalism.
Whatever they want to.
To me, it's like It's just if you get capitalism, you get free markets, you're going to have propaganda. Go ahead, Jason. I'm waiting for it. Obama signs amendment to Smith-Mundt Act 1948. Found it.
That's it. And that's a Business Insider article. Not all of my articles are super.
Business Insider sounds pretty reputable.
Yeah, I'm just saying. When you do a show like this, you don't always pull up articles that are necessarily accepted by. Like if you showed the URL to someone, they might go, "This is a fucking whatever.com," and think it's fake just on its face.
It seems kind of late, 1948, that we're passing laws forbidding psychological operations aimed at influencing. Like that's a couple hundred years into.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I think if you look at it in context, you're like, I can't believe they did that.
I feel like this is the same reaction I'm having to the article you showed earlier. I don't know.
Oh, about the CIA investing in Facebook before it got big and stopping a thing that came out right before it.
For
so that's
years,
2012.
commercial advertisers strategies on the premise that there is a positive correlation between the numbers of times a consumer is exposed to product advertisement and the consumer's inclination to sample the new product. The very same principle applies to how we influence our target audiences. We do. Okay, that didn't mean anything.
Okay, that didn't need to be read.
That's
the gist of it. So that happens in 2012. What you were talking about happens in 87. We're hitting bullet points on a timeline that is full of way more bullet points, but we're hitting what we can. And then let's fast forward. I think Drake put this link in here. Did you watch Zuckerberg's interview with Joe Rogan?
I watched the whole fucking episode. It's so good.
That was probably a month prior to the DHS leaks, and then the DHS leaks make you go, "Hey, Zuck, you didn't mention this, you fucking asshole."
Yeah, and I bet.
So what
bet
happened
he
in
felt
that
on the
interview? I guess
spot.
is my question.
I bet he felt on the spot and he felt like not answering, or he feels like maybe he doesn't know, and that's people under him making moves, type of shit.
Yeah, can we talk about Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce instead? Have y'all seen that video?
What?
Zuckerberg did a live stream barbecuing in his backyard.
Is it massive?
Actually, it looked pretty normal, but probably like in a 3-hour stream, 300 times he said "Sweet Baby Ray's."
Really?
He said it enough times for people to edit the video and pull out every time he said "Sweet Baby Ray's."
So they just
and
made
he's
a
saying like
montage of him saying
the full name of the barbecue sauce, and you're like, this is weirder than when you drank that water, weird dude.
definitely product name
You
drop.
pulled up. Were you wanting to play any of that video, Clayton, or what?
If you want to, or if you just want to speak on it, I didn't watch that one, but I did hear the news that he
I think
said.
I think I just sent a smaller clip, not the full video, because I think what I sent is what made sense and pertained to the video. Excuse me.
Okay, I'll throw it in the. I'll throw it in the watch together. But that is when we learned that he said the FBI came to him and told him to not.
Yeah.
Or to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. That was the news that I gathered from that.
And he was like, "Yo, bitch, I'm in the CIA. I won't fucking take it off Facebook. I'll just put it at the bottom where no one will see it."
You're right. That's exactly what he said.
That's what he said. I was there.
What's this noise? Are you playing this?
I'm playing the wrong link. Give me a second.
Nice.
There we go. It keeps pulling up the last video.
You let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna mute it.
Yeah. Go ahead. I was trying to get Drake to pontificate while I tried to pull it up, but I failed miserably.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
He already did it, and I was supposed to have it done, but I fucked it up.
Bad production level. My bad.
Copy. Paste. Play that video. I did it.
There we go.
I did it.
Oh, more Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan podcast. I turned it down. Let me fix that.
We're not supposed to.
Jeremy, shut up.
I mean, that is like, I mean, that's the worst. I mean,
how
that's
do you
like
discern? Like how, like say, like these Christian Facebook pages. I don't know how they found out that 19 of 20 were fake, But if someone just says, I am Bob Smith, and they post as Bob Smith, and they have a photograph, but really what they're doing is trying to talk shit about Joe Biden and get people to vote Republican in the midterms. Like, how do you know whether someone's real or not? Like, this is the big argument with Elon and Twitter, because Elon asked Twitter, like, what percentage of your website is filled with bots?
This video's old now, too, right?
And he says, I don't believe you. I think it's
I mean,
high.
it's not
extremely
It's a
old.
couple
Let's
months old,
find
but
out
it's
how
before he
you've
bought it.
come to this conclusion.
It's like a month old. Yeah,
And,
it's
you
right
know,
before he bought it.
they're-
He bought it
I
within
believe
the
they said
past
that they just
2
took
weeks.
100 random Twitter pages and looked at the interaction, and there's some sort of an algorithm they applied to it. But how do you discern?
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, so I mean, I think
Because
estimating.
what he just asked about was how is Zuckerberg determining bots on Facebook? I think Facebook is probably better at it than Twitter because it's more of a pain in the ass to sign up for Facebook than it is Twitter. However, oh shit, it's almost 9. There's this theory called the dead internet theory. Have y'all heard about it?
Not before the show, no.
I pulled up no information because it's more of a thought idea or like there's no way to prove it.
Again,
I'm going off on everything is the same geometry that Jeremy got to call.
Cool beans, man. I'll own that. I own that 100%. Whatever.
He's proud of that.
No, I'm
real
yanking
proud
your
of that.
chain. So dead internet theory is that most of the interaction you see on the internet is not real people. Does that make sense?
Really?
And I think it's a little more pointed into the engagement of posts. Most of the engagement with posts is not real people, in that it's all bots. And I literally Googled, dead internet theory, is everything a bot? And like a lot of the links that pop up are companies who will sell you bots. Or they'll sell you either bots or they'll just boost whatever you're asking them to boost.
You get that shit all the time anytime you try to run a band page or...
Yeah, all those we posted a link on this on this video on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think the first one said, what's really funny about this, it happens every week, so I always pick an Instagram profile I have and comment promoted on Pornhub.com.
Yeah.
Because that's fucking hilarious to me. Because every time we
All
post
those
one,
bots.
bots say promoted on fucking twitchbitch.com or something. And I went to be the first comment this week, and I was going to put promote on Pornhub.com.
Pornhub.
And then I would be first, and then everything else would come, and I'd be like, oh, that's a switch up to an old joke. Someone posted a bot comment before I could type it.
I think I commented some, but I can't remember what it was.
But so bots are really prevalent, and the idea is that
up.
most of the interaction with anything people post is actually paid for, or it's a bot, or it's not a person behind it.
No, that's what
which
Honey
I find
just said.
very interesting.
Honey said the Truman Show, but online. Like, I feel like I was coming to that conclusion last week that like maybe everything we are seeing is by design, right?
It was Molasses that said it.
What?
Promoted on OnlyFans.
Yeah, I think I'm the second comment though, and I said promoted on Pornhub.
Yeah, you did.
This is funny. We just set ourselves up for our own jokes.
We should actually.
It's awesome.
We did. It's a long con, but anyways, I find that so he's talking about bots on Twitter, and that theory becomes more relevant. And so I searched. I dug into the bots on the internet a little bit, but Ketchup says bots are becoming more common, but they make up a small percentage of the internet, in my opinion. I can't refute that. That's not even what I looked at. What I looked at was, does the U.S. government use bots? Because I'm on a train of thought that they're influencing social media. And guess fucking what they do?
They use bots.
Guess what? They said we only use them outside of the United States. And guess what? I don't fucking believe them.
Well, I mean, the DHS is evidence that They absolutely do.
The DHS leaks don't show any bot information. I have a link if you want to pull it up.
I just meant influence in general. I didn't mean bots. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But so they do have a program to make bots and allow military personnel to control something like 10 different profiles to influence other countries during times of war or in intelligence operations. But this would, they said they didn't influence media at home. They said they didn't influence internet at home. Why would they not say, yeah, we run bots, but not at home? Oh, actually, we run them at home. So if they're running bots, if you believe the algorithm is an echo chamber, but they're running bots, they're taken to the top of the list. If you look at politics and the government has bots and they're using them, what you get given next in your algorithm on politics was determined by the United States government and their bots. Because the algorithm is based on engagements, right? I mean, they can influence you by using the algorithm, not just adjusting it. Does that make sense? That's crazy. They're saying they don't. I have no proof that they are. But I'm extrapolating 2 different scenarios where they said it was only overseas and they're doing it at home. If you count the NSA, that's 3. Edward Snowden. It's a whole thing. It's a whole nother episode.
Man, dude, yeah, this is definitely a 2-parter. I didn't know if we could do it.
We should definitely do 2 parts.
We didn't even touch on, I would say, half of the stuff we put on there.
Yeah, I want to touch up a lot next week on a bunch of the psychological stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the effects of social media on a person.
There's like a whole generation growing up in it, on it, every day, living it. What does that look like? That's a different...
I want to get rid of
the data on that children is on those
dude,
people.
Dude, that's a different beast.
Terrifying.
That's a different animal. That's not even human at that point to me, and I'm arguing I have a fucking...
Ketchup came up with a band name that warrants saying out loud. Algorithm.
That's pretty
it's amazing.
I love it.
I'm going to have to cut that out of the stream so it doesn't get stolen. Ketchup.
The algorithm in the room with you right now.
Hey, we should make music for the show, and that'll be what our little band is called. And we just make music for this show.
Just this one episode, right?
No, I mean, like, we make the fucking intro, the outro, do the whole thing.
You have an electronic drum kit,
it needs to be like real hardcore punk, so it's like, have you seen the pyramids? They're fucking nuts.
Dude, we should try to make some kind of like novelty song.
It'll be like an anime intro where they're all fucking like crazy.
Yeah, running with their arms behind their back.
No, but like the music in any anime intro is always extreme. It's amazing.
A banger.
I love the Japanese dub of Dragon Ball Z. Or Dragon Ball Super. That one's crazy.
I haven't seen that one. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z.
At the end of it, they yell soapy. It must mean something in Japanese.
It has to. All right, let's fucking end that conversation.
All right. Plugs. You're up first, Drake.
All right. So a few more days until I'm able to change my name. But if you want to find me on Twitch, oh crap. You can find me at Dark Lord Adar.
Oh shit.
What happened?
I was supposed to keep going, I'm sorry.
Okay. And you can find my band, Abel Delilah. We have new music out. One new single. We'll have hopefully some new other singles coming out in the very near future. Other than that, it's up to one of y'all now.
Damn, Jeremy, you should really be pulling up links.
I just did. That's what I was asking about earlier. Chat commands. Robots do it now. The AI has taken over. I don't have to do shit. I just put in a command and it says, hey, join us on Discord.
Why don't you go next?
I'm here every Tuesday night at 7 on the Funny Night Theorios. I occasionally pop up on Twitch just playing random video games with my bestest of buds. Some of which are here now, some of which are in chat, and some of which of you are in chat need to participate more in said extracurricular video gaming on Twitch. That's it. That's my plug.
Same here.
Who are you referencing?
No names, no shame, no obligation.
Fucking watch the guy was broken. I was trying to bring up a Rolling Third episode. Doesn't matter. You can find me in St. Louis.
Hey.
I'm at BOC Wasabi on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, whatever else. Jeremy also pops up every so often on Sundays at the Rolling Third.
Check
on
the Rolling
YouTube.
Third every Sunday, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Not every Sunday. I do it every Sunday. You don't do it every Sunday.
A Smith will be there every Sunday.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's basically it. Follow this show though on,
This.
Rumble, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Yep. We need to do better at clips. We need to do better at dissecting the incoherent thoughts that we are expressing.
Yeah, if y'all rewatch this video, clip that shit on Twitch so we can repost it places. Do our work for us, please.
It's already hard enough promoting this show. We can't clip it.
Oh yeah, you can join the Discord and feed us links.
Yeah, there's
continue to do our jobs for us.
No, I mean, if you want to join in on the conversation or have a subject that you would like, I should learn how to spell, but it is right here in the robot. There you go.
Nice. All right, we'll see y'all next week.
Next week, guys.
Bye.
Appreciate y'all stopping by. Bye-bye. See you guys. Adios. I'm putting the waiting screen up. Bye.